Hey, it's another Strat Fan Forum football show. This is a post-game Super Bowl interview between myself, the winning coach, interviewer Dan Morin, who was able to call the game from the third quarter on, I believe, right, Dan?
Yeah, about 9:26 left, and when I jumped on, it was 21-0. You were in the lead, but Sean was driving. He was in your end. Picked up got to a 4th and 3, and tried to run to pick up the first down. Missed it by a yard, and then I thought that was a critical point in the game. But then you picked up 2 penalties. So when you listen to the broadcast, you'll hear me say, "Well, that fourth down was huge, but there's enough time left that if he stops him here quickly on a 3-and-out, which he may be able to do because he's got a 1st and 25, and then all of a sudden an end run by Russell Wilson, 42 yards with a 2-roll comes up," and I just said, "Oh, God, that's got to be just back-breaking for Sean." I could imagine what he was saying at his house.
Well, guess who's on the call right now? It's Sean. Sean,
Oh.
how'd you do?
Hey, Sean.
Sean, can you hear us? I see him.
Yeah, I see him too.
Turn your volume up. Let me tell him, text him. Oh, he can't hear.
Oh, so he's.
Oh, so yeah, so maybe he can only see, but he can't talk. But we were just talking about the yeah. So I'm sure that he was like, what a crazy roll, especially after some of the first half luck I had. I had a lot of dump offs.
Yeah.
So he says the volume's all the way up. So how about headphones?
So can he hear us?
We ask him.
I remember a while back, a couple leagues ago, I used to listen and just watch you guys, but I didn't have a mic or a camera, so I just kind of used to watch.
Yeah, but I had a ton of dump-offs in the first half. That's kind of the way I was planning on attacking Baltimore. I mean, I've coached them, so I know what their weaknesses are. And their pass rushers on the defensive line are non-existent. So if you can get some short passes or long passes against them and they don't get a pass rush or they don't get a blitz chase, they're going to turn into dump-offs a lot of the time. So I got a lot of those. I think Wilson was like 6 of 6 or 7 of 7 to start the game. So that's how I got the lead. And then every time it was like time for Sean to get the ball, in the first half he would get first down, second down, and he'd be like in 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 5, and he wouldn't be able to convert. Forsett was terrible. He would be like 2nd and 4, and he'd run Forsett, and he'd lose 2 yards, so containment was back in effect. And that can happen. And then he had a couple of 4th downs in the first half, besides the ones you saw, where he went to Forsett, and he hit those middle numbers. Off tackle, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are all minus yards or no gain. So
that happened. So that happened in the first half too, because when I jumped on, every time he had the ball, you were obviously up 4 scores after that. He didn't convert that 4th down, and every time he was running, you were guessing pass, and he was just nailing those -3s and the zeros, and he couldn't hit the long gains. And then you'll hear me on the broadcast, he hit the long gain at the 10-yard line for a touchdown, which was great for the touchdown, but goodness gracious, where was the long gain earlier than that?
Yeah, and Sean says he can hear us now.
Okay.
Sean, do you have a microphone there?
Yeah, I should. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Perfect, great. So Dan was asking earlier after, because he jumped in, it was 21-0 in the third quarter, and you had pretty much had me pinned like 3rd and long or 2nd and long, and I hit that 42-yard end run on the Baltimore card.
Yeah.
So he's asking how you felt after that.
That was a little rough, I'm not going to lie.
Is that when you started drinking, like I see you doing now?
Yeah, well, no, yeah.
But yeah, the Ravens running backs, they're kind of like, that's one of the few times that I really like to let the CM make the substitutions. You know how you say, like, do not sub for human players? With Baltimore, I let the computer manager do that because Raven Maniac, the guy who makes the computer managers, is a Ravens fan. And for that team, you can't really use Forsett on short yardage situations. You need to bring in Bernard Pierce or Lorenzo Talaferro.
Yeah, I noticed that he doesn't get it's all or nothing with Forsett.
Yeah, you get the big, huge gains on the edge, and I think you only hit one of those today when it was like first and goal at the 10 or something like that.
10, yeah. The
So
one
he got like 12 yards out of a long gain. But if you don't hit those, he can be just so frustrating to coach.
Yeah, and Flacco didn't have a very good game either.
Yeah, I thought I was a little nervous. It was 21-0. You missed this, Dan, but Baltimore got the ball first in the third quarter, and they threw a bomb right off the bat. Steve Smith went for like 60 yards.
Yeah.
So they had it first down inside the red zone. But again, Sean got down to like 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 3, and Forsett runs for 0 yards or -2. And then he went for it on 4th. It was like 4th and 2, and you could have gone for a field goal, which would have, cut it a little bit. But he went for it, which I would have done too. But again, it was Forsett. Damn, guessed wrong, 0 yards, and he didn't convert. I think that was like 2 or 3 times that game that happened.
Yeah, I had a rough time on 4th down. I don't think I got any of them, and I went for it 4 or 5 times.
And there was, in the first half, there was a blocked, no, I went for it on 4th and 1, and it was an incomplete flat pass, guessed wrong, and there was a holding penalty on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. Sean accepted the penalty. I was like, yes, I can punt. But it turned it from first down for the Ravens. It was a short punt anyway, so maybe you lost 30 yards. But that was a big play, too. Kind of let me off the hook there.
Yeah, I thought about that afterwards. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea.
I thought maybe it was a misclick or something, but that was a big play. And then I had like 3 fumbles. Lynch fumbled once or twice, a receiver fumble, and every time I got the ball back. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't get any turnovers. I didn't get anything on 4th down. I didn't get any of Forsett's numbers. It was a little brutal.
Yeah, well, you're playing with a team that's not as good. Like the Seahawks they went to the Super Bowl in 2014. They were one of the elite teams. And the Ravens were kind of, did they miss the playoffs or they barely made it and they got knocked out? This is 2 years ago, so I can't quite remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But they don't have, like, a stud running back. They have the hit and miss Forsett, and then they have Flacco, who is also kind of hit and miss. And their defense, if you don't have men in zone, they give up yards. They give up a lot of yards through the air, and that's how I went to attack them. But if they need to have guys in zone on the runs. Let me share the box score, because I think you did shut down Lynch pretty much. Here's the box. So Lynch only ran for 42 yards, so you did shut them down on the running game. But Wilson had the big 42-yard run, and then he was red hot. Aside from that pick, 20 of 34 for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. So Seahawks had a pretty good game, and the Ravens just had an awful game.
Yeah. Well, I kind of went into it knowing I was going to have to try everything I possibly could to win that game. I knew it was not going to be your basic type game. It wasn't going to be a grinded out football game. It was going to have to be big plays no matter what I did.
Yeah, it wasn't a 50-50 game. It was more like a 75-25 where you needed, a few turnovers, and for me to have the kind of day that you had where you couldn't convert third downs until the second half.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it was still rough.
Yeah.
That Flacco card is brutal. I mean, I had some good luck with him in Battle Royale, but then, I knew when it came down to having to count on Flacco that it wasn't going to work out. So with Sean sitting there with Forsett not hitting those big gains and that chunky card with the zeros and the -3s, the time that I watched, and it sounds like it happened in the first half too, with you guessing pass, you're not really going to move the ball consistently with Flacco, especially with that Seattle pass defense.
So here was the first half possessions before you joined for the Ravens. 3-and-out punt, no yards gained. The second one was, that was after I don't know what this was, one play, and you fumbled it. I recovered a fumble after one play. Oh yeah, that was the Forsett end run where it was a 2-through-5 or 2-through-6 fumble.
Mm-hmm.
The third.
And then you turned that into a touchdown too, which must have been huge.
Yes, that got me out to a 14-0 lead, and then 4 plays, 9 yards. You turned it over on downs where you couldn't convert that that 4th and 1. That gave me like a short field. Then 3 and out. Then you had 10 play, 18 yards gained, 15 yards in penalties, but you still, stalled at my 37 and wound up punting.
Mm-hmm.
And then another 1 play. Well, that was the end of the half. Then the second half, you started to move the ball. 5 plays, 77, 6 for 12, 5 for 28, 12 for 57. But by then it was pretty much over.
Yeah, at that point it was.
So I really appreciate you filling in. I know that you were disappointed because this game was the exact opposite of the AFC Championship game where Baltimore got every single break. It seemed like whatever team I was coaching this year just had a ton of good luck when it came down to the playoff games.
Yeah, Houston was a fun team to play with. I'm not going to lie. That was a lot of fun. And I did a lot better with them than I thought I was going to. But I think J.J. Watt ended up with like 21 sacks in the regular season, so it was a huge year for him.
Yeah, I think if you had had Houston in the Super Bowl instead of Baltimore, you would have had a better chance just because you knew that team. You had coached them all year. You had a ton of success with them.
Coming in and trying to play a game with a team I've never played with before gave me another disadvantage on top of the ones that team already had.
Yeah. Well, I have to say I really appreciate you stepping in. I of course enjoyed it. It was one of those great seasons for me. So.
No, I loved it. It was a lot of fun.
I know we didn't have a full slate of coaches. We only had like 23 or 22 coaches, but and you wound up coaching 3 of the teams, which was fantastic. But I really enjoyed it. This is a good card set. It's not like too overpowering where it's set in stone that one team's going to win the league. Who won it in Snarl, Dan?
Snarl. Jesus, I think wasn't it Green Bay? No, yeah, Green Bay beat Buffalo.
Yeah. So you had a team like Buffalo, which could, Juno went undefeated with Buffalo up until the Super Bowl, and he had a chance to win that Super Bowl too. In USFFL, the final 4 teams are Seattle, Green Bay,
Denver,
Pittsburgh, and Denver. Dan's coaching Denver against Pittsburgh on Monday, and I'm coaching Seattle against Green Bay on Tuesday. So, I think any number of like maybe 8 or 10 teams could possibly win the Super Bowl if the breaks go their way.
Yeah, I can't believe Green Bay in all 3 leagues. Green Bay did so well that Aaron Rodgers, of course, is outstanding, but that defense, man, I can't believe that 3 different coaches took that defense to Super Bowls. That defense has its challenges. I'd sure rather play that defense than Seattle's if I were fortunate enough to make the Super Bowl in USFFL.
Yeah, the Seahawks have a good defense as long as you don't get too, wild with Earl Thomas. If you leave that long pass zone open, you can get burnt. But aside from that, you have good ratings, decent pass rush if the matchups are right, and not a lot of yards on the cards for running, which is great.
Yeah, that Houston job that Sean did, I agree. That was amazing. I scored. The thing that baffled me and made me amazed about what Sean did with that Houston team is I scored a ridiculous amount of points with the Colts. I mean, I scored a ton of points, and I think Sean still beat me by like 40 points over the year with that Texans team. So I can only imagine the touchdowns he put up against everybody else because I was fortunate enough to get him twice during the season to win the division, and I knew I was in trouble when I had to play him again, and I ended up losing that.
Well, you beat me both games in the regular season, so I was going into it going, this is going to be a long game.
Yeah, and then he suckered me in. It was a play, Dennis. I don't know if you were watching it, but I think it was close to the end of the first half. I hit a 47-yard touchdown to go up. Was feeling good about myself, and then I got snookered into worrying about Arian Foster hitting a long run at the end of the first half, and I guessed run, and he went deep and hit it, and ended up scoring a touchdown right before halftime that just sucked the wind right out of my gut. And then in the second half, it ended up killing me in the second half.
Yeah, those big. Yeah, well, he won 34-28, right?
Yeah, so I ended up scoring a touchdown late, but he That set the tone right there. I was really feeling good about myself and just let my head spin around early in the third half, trying to do something too quick, and he outcoached me from the rest of the way out.
Yeah, that was a good game. I think there was a lot of playoff games, besides the ones that I was involved in, which turned into blowouts. There was a lot of good, exciting playoff games too. This one, even though you did score that touchdown late, I think you got the ball back, didn't you, with a chance to win it?
Yeah, that was one of those things where I think Sean might remember this, but I scored that touchdown and I had 3 timeouts left, and in hindsight, when something doesn't go your way, you always think you should have gone the other way. But I had that decision with 1:40 left whether to do an onside kick or try and play defense, and I kicked it and thought I could pull something out on defense, and he ended up picking up a first down and just running the clock out.
Oh, that's
so
right.
I just couldn't make a decision, and I went with playing defense because I'd rather, if I stopped him and 3 and out and he punted, I'd have good field position and a better chance to try and score, I thought. But I couldn't pull it off.
Well, it was a fun postseason, guys. Congratulations to all you guys. All 3 of us here made the postseason. Sean made it with, multiple teams, with coaching the Falcons as a fill-in for that, and winding up the Super Bowl as well. So you coaching every round there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a little weird to see a 7-9 team make it to the playoffs and then end up winning the wild card game.
Yeah, that was great. Another feather in your cap there.
Yeah.
I think I made a comment during the broadcast that Sean coached 29 teams and Dennis and I coached the other 3.
It seemed like that sometimes. It seemed like that.
Hey, change the S to Sean next year, Dennis, in SFFRL.
Oh, okay.
The Sean Football League.
Yeah, exactly.
So hey, just to let you guys know, I got an email this weekend. I'm in Autumn Winds. So
Nice.
yeah, they decided not to extend an invitation to just one owner. So I don't know who that is. So I'm trying to guess what team. I
can tell you who it is.
Yes. So who is it?
I can tell you. I don't know if I should. Let me stop the broadcast. Let me stop the broadcast, and I'll tell you.
Oh wait, you might get kicked out if you do that.
No, I don't want to do it if I'm wrong. No, we'll do it off the air. So
yeah, exactly.
Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll talk to you later. I'm just going to push stop broadcast. Hold on.
All right.